Welcome to Betsy's Nighttime Comforts. I'm your host, Betsy, and tonight we embark on a soothing journey together. A tale of unexpected adventures and life lessons learned along the way. As you listen, let the gentle rhythm of the story lull you into a state of relaxation, inviting you to explore the bonds of friendship and the magic of serendipitous moments. Before we begin, let's find a comfortable spot to relax. Let your shoulders drop. Close your eyes and take a deep breath in and out. One more time. In and out. As you settle in, feel any tension melting away, making room for calm and tranquility. Subscribing, comments, shares, and likes are appreciated to help grow our community. Perhaps tomorrow, when you wake, you will have time for this too. But tonight, let's embrace relaxation. Road Trip, Part 1, The Journey Begins. The sun began its gentle descent, casting a warm, golden glow over the suburban neighborhood as two couples loaded up the car for what was meant to be a dream vacation. The air was thick with the sweet scent of blooming flowers, intertwining with the sounds of laughter and easy chatter. Jane, with her perfectly styled hair and chic designer sunglasses perched atop her head, stood at the rear of the vehicle, directing the packing of their bags with an air of authority. "You packed sunscreen, right?" she asked, rifling through her meticulously organized tote bag, filled with beauty essentials, snacks, and an impressive array of magazines. "Of course, and I brought my swimwear too. You know, the one that helps suck in the middle but not too much. Mike likes my rolls," Kim replied, her effervescent personality radiating as she winked at Mike, who chuckled gently. Jane smiled at her friend, knowing that Kim had always embraced her curves, flaunting her plump figure and generous bust. "You're going to look stunning, Kim. That swimsuit will be fabulous by the water," Jane encouraged, though she bit her tongue, aware the swimsuit was a bit more revealing than she might have chosen for Kim. Admiring Kim's spirit, Jane made it a point to uplift her friend about her looks. Despite her own insecurities about body image, Jane always reminded Kim of her beauty. As they packed the car, Jane discreetly placed a couple of stylish cover-ups in her bag, understanding Kim would appreciate a backup plan. "You know, I bought some new throws for us to keep warm in the evenings," Jane mentioned casually. "They're perfect for those chilly beach nights." "You're the best," Kim exclaimed, her eyes lighting up with gratitude. Moments like these reinforced the bond between them, even as Jane navigated sensitive topics with care. In the front seats sat Jimmy and Mike, each a study in contrast. Jimmy, preppy and polished in his crisp shirt and skinny jeans, fiddled with his sunglasses, glancing at the GPS, trying to maintain a semblance of control over their journey. Beside him, Mike, the rugged high school football coach, leaned back, his demeanor clashing with Jimmy's neat appearance. His t-shirt slightly rumpled and displaying the name of his school spoke of late-night practices and early mornings. "So, did you catch the game last weekend?" Mike asked, attempting to break the ice, turning his attention to Jimmy. Jimmy, taken aback but eager to show he was somewhat informed, replied, "No, but I heard it was a good game." Mike chuckled, shaking his head. "Good? You mean great. The talent on the field is crazy. You gotta watch a game, man. You'll be hooked." "Someday," Jimmy replied. "I'm actually reading about interior design. I'm sketching the redesign for our basement. I can't wait to surprise Jane with all the cool curtains and colors. I'm even putting in a really cool wall with different colored wood pieces I kept from our old house." "Aren't there people you can hire to do this?" Mike asked, raising an eyebrow. "Not for me. I love this stuff. I dream of redesigning rooms for the wealthy," Jimmy replied excitedly. Mike raised his eyebrows and looked away, seemingly uninterested. As they all climbed in, Jane settled into the back seat next to Kim, who was busy scrolling through her phone, showing Jane the latest vacation outfits she planned to wear. "I can't wait to hit the beach and show off my new look," Kim gushed, her eyes sparkling with excitement. With laughter filling the car, they set off on their 8-hour road trip to a luxurious beach house in Florida. The highway stretched out before them, and the scenery transformed from suburban sprawl to expansive fields dotted with wildflowers. Jane and Kim reminisced about high school days, their voices rising and falling like gentle waves of laughter. Meanwhile, Jimmy attempted to engage Mike in conversation about their families, but Mike often responded with vague nods, more focused on the passing landscape. "Remember that time we tried to sneak into that concert?" Kim said, giggling. "We thought we were so cool." "Yeah, and you tripped over the security guard's foot," Jane added, her laughter infectious. "Hey, they let us in." "Yeah, they felt sorry for us." Kim laughed along. Just as the excitement reached its peak, the car jolted violently, a loud thud filling the air. The vehicle swerved slightly, and Jimmy quickly regained control, pulling over to the side of the road. "What was that?" Kim exclaimed, her voice laced with concern. "I think I hit something," Jimmy replied, glancing at the dashboard. Mike leaned forward with a slight grin, saying, "You didn't hit anything, we blew a tire." He pointed out the window at the now deflated rear tire, its lifeless form resting against the hot asphalt. "Great, just what we needed," Jimmy grumbled, stepping out of the car to inspect the damage. "What next?" "Just a blown tire, no big deal." "It's an omen of some sort. I can feel it." As they rummaged through the trunk, gathering the spare tire and tools, Jane and Kim watched from the side of the road, their spirits slightly dampened. What if we're stuck here for hours? Kim asked, biting her lip. Don't worry, it'll just be a little hiccup in our adventure, Jane reassured. Look, someone is already stopping to help. Jane walked quickly towards the approaching truck, while Kim followed, a bit concerned. Just then, this beat-up old pickup truck rolled to a stop beside them. The driver, an eccentric man with wild hair, oversized denim attire, and a baseball cap, leaned out of the window. Need a hand, friends? He called, his voice cheerful and slightly gravely. Jimmy and Mike exchanged skeptical glances, but knew they were out of options. Yeah, actually, that would be great, Jimmy replied, while Mike shot him a look that said, Are you sure about this? The man jumped out, his enthusiasm infectious. I'm Bill. You all just passing through? We're on vacation heading to Florida, Jane interrupted. Well, let's get that tire sorted so you can get vacationing. He approached with a tool belt slung around his waist, the tools clinking merrily as he walked. As Bill began to examine the tire, Mike noticed the quirky, long-sleeve blue denim shirt Bill wore, which featured an oversized, cartoonish ghost with a cheeky grin, holding a sign that read, Boo. I'm just here for the snacks. The sight made everyone chuckle. Nice shirt, man. Is that your ghost looking for snacks? Mike said, pointing at the shirt with a grin. Bill laughed heartedly. You got it. Nothing says adventurer like a ghost with a craving. As Bill continued to work on the tire, he leaned closer to Mike and Jimmy, lowering his voice just enough so the woman wouldn't hear. Listen, guys, you're actually going the wrong way to Florida. If you take the next off-ramp, there's a town nearby that would make for a great vacation spot. Jimmy looked at the destination on his GPS. Shoot, Mike, I put in Georgia by mistake. Tired and frustrated, Jimmy and Mike exchanged looks. Mike then said, I'm exhausted. Mind if we stop for the night? We can't drive on the spare for too long, and Bill mentioned a nice little town at the next exit. Is there a beach in this town? Mike asked desperately. Not really, but some small ponds, Bill replied. As Bill worked on the tire, Mike leaned back against the car, crossing his arms. We're screwed, he said, a hint of a smile creeping onto his face. Not the first time for me, Jimmy said, shaking his head. Jane's gonna kill me. Clearly, Mike replied, laughing. You thought you were just on a scenic drive, but here we are, stuck on the back road in the middle of nowhere. And to top it all off, Bill added, your tire is blown because you ran over this piece of wood with a huge nail sticking out of it. What I'm hearing is there's some crazy dude putting this stuff on the roads so people blow their tires. The dude watches from a distance and decides whether he'll attack. They all looked around in fear. Bill lightened the mood as he shared more wild stories, each more outrageous than the last. Mike began to relax and enjoy the unexpected company. Bill spoke of odd roadside attractions, strange encounters, and the time he accidentally joined a traveling circus. The laughter of the two men mingled, breaking down the barriers that had separated them. However, Jimmy continued to look around with a bit of unease. After a flurry of activity and a few more laughs, the tire was finally changed. Bill wiped his brow with a rag, standing back to admire his handiwork. "There you go, good as new. Just make sure to keep an eye on it. These old tires can be tricky." "Thanks so much, Bill. We really appreciate it," Jimmy said, shaking the man's hand firmly. "We'll definitely take that off-ramp. Anytime, just remember, the best adventures often happen when things don't go as planned," Bill replied, with a wink, climbing back into his truck. As they waved goodbye to Bill, the couples climbed back into the car, their spirits lifted. Once settled, a moment of silence hung in the air as they processed the unexpected turn of events. Mike looked back at the girls, said, "I'm exhausted. Mind if we stop for the night? We can't drive on the spare for too long," and Bill mentioned a nice little town at the next exit. "Why not? Let's embrace this little adventure," Jane suggested with a smile. "Yeah, let's go for it," Kim exclaimed, her enthusiasm infectious. A little adventure never hurt anyone. Jimmy exchanged a nervous glance with Mike, who shrugged, and then Jimmy added, "Sounds good to me." As they began driving, Jimmy noticed an old SUV following closely behind. He started to think about what Bill had said about the crazy guy. He tried to get Mike's attention, clearing his throat several times, but Mike was too busy watching a video on his phone. Jane asked if he was okay. "Just fine," he replied, but then Kim said, "The SUV behind us is driving awfully close. There are 2 lanes, you'd think he'd use the other." Mike looked up and turned to see the fear in Jimmy's eyes. "There's our exit. Thank God," Jimmy said. Mike sighed, leaning back in his seat. "I'm ready to be done with this ride. Let's get to town, find a hotel with a sports bar, and head down for a few." "I can get on board with that," Jimmy said, relief washing over him. "If we're going to make the best of this, I want a cold drink in my hand." Jane and Kim shared a laugh, and Kim added, "And who knows, maybe this little detour will lead us to something amazing." With a mix of excitement and reluctance, they drove through the small town. The guys weren't thrilled, but the electric energy from the women was hard to resist. "There's a hotel. Looks like we're not going to find much more in this little town." "Yeah, and there's a bar across the street. Good enough for me." As they pulled into the hotel parking lot, Jimmy noticed the SUV still right on their tail. Jimmy looked at Mike and nodded for him to look. "We're being paranoid," Mike whispered. "Drop me at the front door and I'll get the rooms." Now, dear listeners, as you let the soothing sounds of this story wash over you, imagine the gentle waves of the ocean lapping at the shore, guiding you into a peaceful sleep. Pleasant dreams and good night.